Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Sunday, November 14th, 2021, 3 p.m. Eastern. As we all know, there's a little lightning with every thunderstorm. No matter how dark the storm clouds may feel in our inner world, or how scary the bolts of lightning may get, there is a higher purpose to this madness. Know that every shocking jolt of electricity is needed to awaken our system from its slumber so we find our highest potential energy in this lifetime. Whenever we fall into a state of panic, take a deeper breath and let your breath help you to surrender deeper to experiencing the divinity within this storm. Our darkness is not the enemy. Its purpose is to make our incredible effervescent souls more powerful and electrified. The real enemy is the mindset which makes us believe that we're separated from divinity. So relax and realize that this thunderstorm will soon pass, and it is helping us to wake up from our overextended nightmare. The storm is on our side and is helping us to recognize the all-powerful divine beings inside each and every one of us. It's making sure that we don't fall back asleep into the matrix. The sacred storm is making sure that you don't get lost another lifetime. And the convincing rational mind, which says you're less than divine. Trust the deeper divine part of you who always knows how to relax, let go of fear, let the brilliant stars above navigate you through the storms. A lot of us are trained not to look at things this way. It's just a doom and gloom. But when you realize that how many have woken up out of the matrix just in the last handful of months, it's astronomical. And we can't allow ourselves to fall back into the matrix, fall back asleep. When I let go of who I am, I become what I might be, Lao Tzu. The exploration of who I am is one of the most powerful, life-transforming questions we can sit with. It is infinitely deep, always changing, and takes us on an inner journey that will provide spiritual sustenance throughout our entire life. The question is revealing and deceiving at the same time because it has no solid, real answer to it. We think we have found the answer one week, and then something new happens where we must admit there is yet another part of ourselves we didn't previously see. The path of self-inquiry is endless, mysterious, and is a method to find true meaning, healing, and freedom in this life. We are all seeking some form of liberation in this world because we have created a prison around ourselves to break free from. The prison is all in the mind. Once we understand what the walls of our inner jail are made of, belief systems and thought structures, we can dig our way out. The seemingly solid bars around us are ephemeral, mental, emotional patterns that define who we are and what we are not. The good news is that these personal beliefs formed about ourselves are highly malleable and will change when we are willing to see them for what they are. Our beliefs are powerful. They extend an imposed version of reality out into the world, forming an imaginary construct upon the blank canvas of this universe, molding the all-intelligent, creative energy that surrounds us and is then reflected back to us. The reality we see each day shows up in the type of emotional sunglasses we are wearing. Our personal belief systems create a certain filter, giving life a specific texture, shade, and continuity to color, how we see everything in our world, as well as the end of the day experience of who we are. To unravel oneself is one of the most amazingly juicy explorations we can have in this life. It is a process of perceiving, accepting, honoring, releasing each belief we hold about ourselves to be true and not so true. If you stop to think about what beliefs you have about you, you might start wondering, where did this belief about myself come from? How does it happen that we start defining who we are and who we are not? Why do we believe these thoughts about ourselves, even if they are not serving us and enslaving us? These are questions I invite each of you to sit with and see where they lead you. And remember, it's a perpetual unwrapping of the infinite mystery, and the answers are not as important as to what the question awakens within our consciousness. To perpetually drop into the root of one's core source of consciousness is the final goal of this journey. It's not a one-time shot, yet a continual and eternal falling and rising into the ecstasy of our being. Our souls are always here, awaiting for us to accept its presence at the core of each of us. It is ready to receive us, love us, and serve us. Create the most miraculous manifestations for us, simply surrendering to our core experience of ourselves. For even 5 long, deep breaths can be enough to tap into it. This soul-touching experience allows all our best traits and love to shine forth upon the lives of everyone around us all day long. The normal self is the mind. The mind is with limitations. But pure consciousness is beyond limitations and is reached by investigation into the I, or Maharishi. Initially, intentionally discovering the source of our being is not always an easy task, as the ego is very strong. The prison walls of the mind are thick and doesn't believe we always have access to an infinite source of bliss all the time. The ego becomes very embarrassed, ashamed, and feels stupid for missing this, and thus feels that there must be some massive mountain to climb and overcome to reach heaven here now. Yet the more we struggle and let the mind run the show, the stronger and more real the ego and its fabricated system of beliefs becomes. We must choose to dig deeper inside to find the real path to freedom, which is super magical, amazingly powerful, and able to walk right through these prison walls that we've created. All the beliefs of the mind must be pierced all the way through if we are ever to find liberation from its imposing structure. We must see and experience each specific belief for what it is, merge with it, and dissolve into it until there is nothing left of the belief or ourselves. When it comes down to it, the experience of finding freedom from the ego is actually quite simple. It's all about opening up to the most relaxed and non-efforting approach to life you can imagine. We must choose to surrender all efforting if we truly want to arrive. It is only through trusting in this deep, sweet let go that we find the timeless, spacious, vastly deep connection with the divine. When we finally give up our inner battle, we realize how futile all of our past efforts have been and what little power our belief system actually has over us. When we discover how deeply cherished and lovable we truly are, we stop being consumed with the outer and fall into the infinite mystery of the inner. This is the only place where absolute freedom can be discovered. Now, I've always found that how we judge, label, and define others says a lot more about ourselves than about them. Our labels darken our sunglasses, blocking the full spectrum of colors from the divine to shine through and touch our souls. When we start digging into our own belief systems this week to see what's there, just notice how attached you are to them. They are the most powerful and personal things in this universe. They form every aspect of reality that we believe is true. Approach them with this awareness, and you can only find freedom from them along the way. Everything that irritates us about others can lead to a better understanding of ourselves, Carl Jung. The other assignment I'd like you to take on is to see where your beliefs came from. Notice what age-specific beliefs formed for you and how they were handed down from other people around you. All of our thoughts about ourselves come from the outer world in this lifetime or another. Who we are at the very core are pure innocence itself, free from all labels and beliefs entirely. We were simply covered up like a light bulb caked in mud by the beliefs of others imposed upon us. This realization in your innocent light nature is essential on the path to total freedom. The innocence is more personally intimate than any belief will ever be, and thus is why our entire lives are wrapped up in unraveling who we really are. The next step towards transcending one's belief system is understanding that they are not the enemy or something we need to get rid of. It is our resistance and need to control them which is the real enemy. Life becomes a more rich and juicy experience because we are wearing so many pairs of sunglasses and having to release so many layers of mud about who we are and what the world is about. If we never formed a belief at all, we would only see the divine throughout the entire life journey, and there would be no exciting purpose or deeper mission for coming to visit this planet Earth. Our beliefs give us something to grind upon and push against, giving us direction, motivation, desire, and a sense of separateness from the source, a sense of separateness. This is essential so that one day we can dissolve through them, feel a sense of freedom, and return home. It is a fantastical journey, an outrageously creative invention of a use of time, mind, and the energy of a soul. So I'm going to share kind of a magic formula to find freedom from our belief system in this lifetime. Some of us will take several lifetimes. Some of us already have. And it is as little as a 3-step process. Real simple. So step 1, write down all your major core beliefs about yourself, others in your life, and this world. This step is so that you clarify them and see what they actually are. Once you can see them, you can embrace them so they're not just floating around the neuronal soup in the synapses of your brain. Step 2, realize that you created these beliefs. Take responsibility for each one, seeing perhaps who you stole it from, who shoved it down your brain, and why you eventually decided to adopt it. The key to this step is taking ownership without any sense of judgment of it being right or wrong. It is simply a belief, a thought structure that was formed about reality. And step 3, have an experience of believing in the belief. Have an experience of believing in the belief, and then explore what it feels like to let it go. This release is the final step towards complete and total liberation, and ultimately requires no action at all. It simply happens on its own accord when we drop into the infinite source of our awareness, pure consciousness itself. When we remain superconscious and aware while embracing this old precious belief experience, a merging happens that liberates us from this illusionary prison forever. Which is the real power? Is it to increase prosperity or bring about peace? That which results in peace is the highest perfection. Sri Raman Rishi. If you have trouble identifying your core beliefs, remember that they are highly emotional and deeper than having subtle preferences about life. They are statements that say that this is the way life is and it cannot be any other way. A preference lends to be, while a belief will crack our very foundation if shaken. If all we had were preferences about ourselves in this life, it would be a much easier and more enjoyable ride. Yet the ego wants safety, security, and thus creates a firm, rigid structure about who we are and who we are not. These ideas create difficulty and an extra feeling of challenge in our relationships with work, money, intimacy, relationships, lifestyle, sex, physique, health, food, etc. The list goes on forever. Wherever you are challenged in this life, you have a right and a rigid belief holding you down. The ideas you have about you have been there a very, very, very long time and may not budge very easily if you try to uproot them. This is the good news and the bad news. The trick here is to take ownership of the belief that is creating the problem, declare full responsibility for it, and then completely release all identification with it. The greater the freedom we experience, the deeper the challenge must be. When you see that you created every aspect of your identity and are no longer a victim on any level, you become empowered to become undefinable being. A soul who is multidimensional and constantly playing in the creativity of reality however you wish it to be. So for this week, try to approach this exploration of unraveling yourself in the most gentle, patient, and unconventional way. Don't try to fix anything you find. If you think something is broken, you're simply not seeing the gift or the strength it's creating deeper within you. The tendency is for the mind to replace every negative self-esteem with a positive self-esteem. The tendency is for the mind to replace every negative self-esteem with a positive self-esteem, as that would be an unending, tiresome, slippery hill to climb. Because how the ego would like to be will never, ever be good enough. never ever be good enough for the ego. There is no use remembering doubts one by one. If we clear one doubt, another doubt will arise, and there will be no end to doubts. But if by seeking the doubter is found to be really non-existent, then all doubts will cease. So if you will, go to the place where you're not going to be interrupted, and I'm sure we all are. And the first thing that we care to do, it's imperative, is to relax our bodies. Head to toe, inside and out. You're carrying stress and tension. I think we all have we have an understanding that we are carrying because you can tell you feel heavier. I'm not talking about physical weight. You feel heavier because you're dragging things, carrying things. Yeah, but you just don't pay attention to it. And after a while, you get used to the weight, the heaviness. But when you discover that you have the power to completely relax that body that you're in, and we know we're not the body, we're not the name, we're not the personality, we're not the character, we're the God within the body. Now, obviously, we're all bombarded with our ego minds on how we perceive things. You know, the doom and gloom and this and that happening. And then, of course, you got the ego, which is never satisfied and is super insecure. And then the mind clicks in. But relaxing the body on a regular basis, naturally, is paramount. And when things come at you, they just roll off of you. It really is that easy. Once you discipline yourself in a kind way, that it just rolls off of you. You're not bothered by external authority. You're not bothered by what people think of you or say to you. Because you know who and what you are. So we know when the body relaxes because it feels lighter. It really does. The body feels lighter. And each weight, each piece of baggage that we just say, no more, bye, we get lighter. We move, and another thing that we do is that all the chatter that we all have, every one of us have this noise. It's over 60,000 plus thoughts that we generate every day. Not only that, we also entertain thoughts in the tens of millions that are actually programs that fly by us, like clouds in the sky or a superhighway, every single day. And there's key things that we can utilize, like practice to not be judging. All right, practice to not be judging. Not easy. We're used to judging each other and ourselves. But to get to that point where we do not judge anything, we just watch. We don't judge. Judging is the road. What is judging? Judging is the road to suffering. Judging is the road to suffering. So doesn't that make sense? Why would we suffer and have such a tense, stressed out body? For what? Because our ego mind is in control? Most likely. But the super fantastic thing about that is that when we can identify that and say, yeah, I gotta do something about my ego mind. It's front and center. I choose to actually be in the heart mind, not the ego mind. And then you begin to identify thoughts that you used to think were yours that come in. When you have a thought, when you generate a thought, you generate it goes out. All right? But with the programmed thoughts, they come in. They're not going out, they're coming in. So it's almost like you got a little sheet, little journal. You go, okay, so do not judge. Watch and learn, but do not judge. Do not become angry. Look at the aspects of what's causing you to start to get angry. Because whether we know it or not, as a civilization, we're in high gear of massive evolution. And a lot of the things that we've been practicing won't hold any water in that higher frequency. So doesn't it make sense that we become aware of it now rather than later? So when our bodies are relaxed, and we do it through the breath, easy in through the mouth, easy out through the nose, easy in through the nose, easy out through the mouth. Your breath is sacred, divine energy. The souls that we are, the pure consciousness, the God source, when we enter these bodies and we actually power them up, and then the breath is created, which sustains the body to house us. That's pretty darn divine. So we slowly begin to realize that we've always been the masters, but we fell asleep and didn't know it. Now we're waking up and realizing that we are the masters all over again. So inside these bodies, we can see these forms of light, about 7 of them from the tailbone to the top of the head. These are known as chakras. Chakra definition means wheel. These are wheels of light. They're etherical spiritual energy. They actually keep our bodies in balance so things don't get lopsided. When they get lopsided, as the chakra goes, it goes bent. It's not in alignment. It's out of alignment. This is why people get physical issues, health issues, emotional issues. So we, the gods, flow through these wheels of light, these energy vortexes, these etheric spiritual energy. That's what we're made of. But we flow through these bodies and we know everything about them. We know our blood flow, we know all of the organs, all the tissue, the bone structure, everything. Right down to the quantum quark. But now you can start to see why we are the power of healing. Why we are. Now, we do know that we are souls, spirits, gods within these bodies. We're not the body. And we know that when our soul enters a body, the soul is heaven, the body is earth, heaven on earth. And we're consciously aware. And what are we consciously aware of? That we are of and from the highest of the deep, the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest purest, eternal love, gratitude, and peace. This is what consciously being aware means. We're on the path of discovering who and what we are. And every time we take a step while in these bodies, we're creating paradise. Literally. Not only that, we're shining our light 360 degrees. What light? The God source, the pure consciousness, the creator, the God, everything. That's what we are. And we're blasting our light on everything, everyone, all life, the highest supreme value in the universes. And you only blast your light because you're consciously aware to a certain extent. You go up to somebody and say, you know, you might want to try blasting your light on everyone. How do you think they would respond? Now, if we were to just take a trip a couple hundred miles off planet, look at the planet, and we'd see how it glowed. And then we would look at the surrounding lights in the universe, and it would look like they were all dim in comparison. So, a God planet paradise that glows. Around 8 billion gods. Not all awake. There's parts of us that aren't awake. So we know that we carry parts of the gods that we are in these bodies, those that are asleep, parts of us. They're all awake on their own. Then we have parts of ourselves, the gods we are, that are consciously aware to a certain extent. Now, these are all the gods that we interact with in these meditations. So this involves all of the light energy beings and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever, beyond, and forever. And that's the archangels, the cherubim, the seraphim, the archetype. The ascended masters, Kuan Yin, Maitreya, Buddha, Lakshmi, Ganesh, Gaia, Saint Germain, Christ, El Morya, Abundantia, Pel, Tha, Yahweh, Yeshua. All of our loved ones who have ascended out of body in this lifetime and all lifetimes that we've inhabited. All of the inhabitants of inner earth, hollow earth, Agartha, and beneath her. All the galactics, the celestials, the off-worlders. And all light energy beings on and above and below this planet. With these eyes that we have in these bodies, we only see 1% of what is. So they come in color, shape, sizes, forms, configurations, which we'd never see. But there is a small group that we do interact with. Not all of them, but quite a few. And that's the fairies, the sprites, the elves, the gnomes, the dwarves, the trees, the trolls, the elementals, earth, air, water, fire, ether, wood, the mermaid, the dolphin, the whale, the pegasus, the unicorn, the centaur, the minotaur, and many, many, many more. Now, the archangels are a civilization that vibrate at a different frequency than we do. We don't see them like we see each other. We meet with them, we interact with them. But it's not like we immediately know that they're an angel. Sometimes we don't. Other times, after we've communicated with them, it just comes over us. This is that it was an angel. Then you feel a little bliss. And they all send us the same message, but it is in so many different forms. And it really comes out to be, isn't it absolutely magna-glorious to be alive in these bodies? To smell, to taste, to touch, to smile, to laugh, to cry, to breathe. Because we don't do that when we are out of physical form. It's a whole different existence. And all along, they can surround any one of us at any one time, in the tens of thousands to tens of millions. Because of their vibrational frequency, they can hold a large number in a small area. So if you don't want them to surround you, tens of thousands, tens of millions, they will, immediately. And you'll feel bliss. Now, the Ascended Masters, they've mastered physical, ascending into physical, out of physical, into pure consciousness, God form. We have ascended into physical are now mastering physical, creating our experiences to perfect our creations. Now, the off-worlders, the galactics, the celestials, over 1,000 of their species travel through this solar system every day. Trillions throughout the universes every day. We are familiar with a very, very tiny group, and that group is the Pleiadians, the Sirians, the Arcturians, the Andromedans, the Feline, the Zeta Reticuli, the Anunnaki, the Nords, the Greys, the Draco, the Reptilian, the Golden Pyramid, the Avian. Now, this particular group has been assisting us in our evolution, our enlightenment, ascension, freeing ourselves from our own self-imposed bondage and our own self-imposed slavery. And we're all gathered, so to speak, arm in arm, hand in hand, in full compassion, non-judgment, non-ego, non-negativity, stillness of mind, gentleness, kindness, generosity, humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, benevolence, prosperity, abundance. And we're all one, and we're all love, and we're all God. And our God, force, love, light, energy is in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever, beyond, and forever. And it continues to intensify, and it continues to expand. We immediately form a circle of light around the equator of this planet Earth, Gaia, Arya, and this now. This circle of light, where does the light emanate from? Within each and every one of us. This light is so bright, it grays out the darkness of sacred space. It would take 1 billion trillion suns just to come close to its radiance, to its brightness. And it's flooding this whole planet. All life, the highest supreme value in the universe, the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest of the purest purest, eternal love, gratitude, peace. We begin to ascend above the planet as this circle of light. And as we ascend, we're immediately met with an ocean of glitter. It's like a laser light show, fireworks, everything going off all together. This is like a massive ballroom globe that has the mirrors on it, except this one is 1 trillion times larger and 1 trillion times more intense. And we're curious, so we go to the reflective points of all these beautiful, ever-changing flashes of light, and we notice these little tiny microscopic mirrors that are perfectly etched. We enter the mirrors and discover that all of us gathered from hundreds of millions of us in every direction in gigaplexes. 1 gigaplex fills this universe with not even a square inch of sacred space to spare. These are trillions of gigaplexes. And so when we've entered the mirrors and we discovered that all of us, all life, no matter how it's housed, is a teacher or a student. We're always learning. We're always learning from ourselves, each other. We're teaching, learning, teaching. It's endless. We're immediately met with the emerald green flaming healing light of Archangel Raphael. This is the column of light that we created that reminds us all that we are the power of healing. We are then met with the violet, blue, purple flaming light of Archangel Michael. This is a column of light that we created to remind us all of our omnipotent power, strength, and resolve. We are then met with the white fire. This is a column of light that we created that reminds us all that from head to toe, inside and out, we are imbued with a white fire armor, nothing like on this planet, way beyond. This white fire armor emanates from the God source, the kingdom of God, the Creator, all of us. So we cannot be possessed. No attachments, no demon possessions or attachments. No lower dark matter, survival matter, frequency, ongoings. We are perfectly protected head to toe, inside and out, always. Always. But only you have the power that if you decide to lower your vibrational frequencies low enough, whether consciously or unconsciously, through hatred, anger, fear, greed, stress, anxiety, hurried, manipulation, dishonesty, revenge, the list is endless. You will lower your vibrational frequency low enough to create a breach in your white fire armor, enough so to allow all the lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies to come flooding in. Now, if you do decide to do this, then you'll have all kinds of possible experiences with demon possession and attachment, lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies, ongoings. Now, if you do decide to do this, you're immediately met with a double column of light. We created this column for the first one, the purple transmuting flame, to remind us that we can bring in the purple transmuting flame, we can transmute all these lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies into neutral light substance, sending them to pure consciousness where they are no more. We're immediately met with the violet ray. This is a column of light that reminds us all that we created, that behind the purple transmuting flame, we can bring in the violet ray, we can cleanse and purify the area where these lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies once were, sealing the breach in our white fire armor, restoring our vibrational harmony to the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, the purest of purest purest, eternal love, gratitude, and peace. We are then met with the golden white pink light. This is a column of light that reminds us all that we created, that the gods within these bodies are the sun, the sunlight. The sun rises and the sun sets. Rain, rainbows, trees, forests, soil, oceans, rivers, lakes, streams, mountains, clouds, sky. We are everything. Everything is us. So the next time you see a sunset, a sunrise, a starry lit night sky, a rainbow, it is you. Always has been, always will be, ever, beyond, and forever. Always has been. Most of the time we'll look at that and we'll say, how beautiful is that? But we're missing. The next time you see it, that is the am that I am. I am the God. That is me. Big difference. Big difference. Sooner or later, we'll be moved into position to accept the fact that we are gods. Aren't just saying it. We are. That we are love. We are gratefulness. We continue to ascend above the planet. And some of us step outside our physical form and hover effortlessly above it if we're carrying physical form. Why do we do this? Well, because we can. We're immediately met with this massive crystalline light tower. We created this tower. It's larger than the solar system and beyond. In the center of the column, we see this oblong sphere. In the center of the sphere is this giant golden white bowl of light. It is surrounded by numerous rings of multicolored, vibrant light. And we notice that they're all sending a massive cloud. It's like a mist. And it sparkles, and you can see some electric in there. And it absorbs into us, and it is like a warm embrace that never ends. And the golden white bowl of light is the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest purest. Eternal love. Then comes gratitude. Then comes gentleness, kindness, generosity, and humbleness. Well-being. Bliss, joy, tranquility, benevolence. Great prosperity, great abundance. And we discovered that it is a reflection of the gods we are. Now, at the top of this crystalline tower, we designed it so the golden ocean can come cascading down 360 degrees, as it's doing right now, as it has been doing 24/7, eternally. This is the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest of the purest purest, eternal love, flooding us all, head to toe, inside and out. Now, we're golden drops of this ocean, and we hold the essence of this golden ocean. Golden ocean are the drops, drops of the golden ocean. The only illusion is separation. We see our meditative sphere. It's set center circle. We created this sphere, almost moving towards 4 years ago. It holds 1,600 plus of our meditations in perpetual motion. Hundreds of millions of us on and off world, consciously aware to a certain extent, with all these meditations every day, 7 days a week. Now, these meditations don't wane, weaken, disappear. They do the opposite. They continue to intensify, and they continue to expand. You can tap into these anytime you choose. Anytime. We all will live for eternity. We know the body and the mind will eventually expire someday. Yet, you will go on and on and on. Now, once each of us know in our hearts that we have an infinite amount of time ahead of us, we relax and step into an expansive, timeless, multi-dimensional spiritual experience. Every little occurrence becomes another opportunity for spiritual growth and enlightenment. Act as if you are living an ever-youthful, energetic, super alive body-mind that will live far beyond 1,000 years. Have conversations with people from this place, knowing you will live forever. Imagine the wisdom, relationships, and life experiences we all will have during this time. Feel, experience, and know that you live forever in an ideal anti-aging state of being. Explore, imagine, and rediscover who you are. I'll join you in the meditation. return to close us out. Take an easy breath in through the nose and an easy breath out through the mouth. Move easily and slowly. The quality of our personal relationships represents how interconnected and whole we are within ourselves. For today, take some time to recognize and acknowledge all the interactions, connections, relations, and relationships you are still thinking about from your past. This may seem like an impossible feat, yet just do the best memory recall you can. Go back to your childhood, grade school, high school. Take a good look at what memories are still repeating. What would you have done or said differently? What do you wish you would have experienced? What happened to your heart when you did start doing and saying what you wanted to? Your assignment is to go and tell those people, if at all possible, either in person or with yourself, what you most need to say. Start doing those things you most want to do with them. This is your chance to make a significant life change in their heart and in yours. This exercise is huge and will free up more spiritual connection than you could possibly know. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and into the following morning. And we will return here Monday, November 15th, 2021, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call.